Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
I just wanna puke now, bitch.
You and me, we both live life at full speed. Easy to see when we collide.
if I should stay or be alone. Won't you make up your mind? 'Cause I'm getting tired of overthinking every move you make. And I can help you decide who you're loving now, and how I'm not quite there somehow. My intuition says to give you up, but my heart can't easily let you go. I try to tell myself this isn't love, and I hate that I never really know if I should stay or be alone. I'm just waiting for the fire, but you won't even try to survive. You would rather keep it all inside, and I can help you decide who you're loving now, and how I'm not quite there somehow. My intuition says to give you up, but my heart can't easily let you go. I try to tell myself this isn't love, but I hate that I never really know if I should stay or be alone. If I should stay or be alone. If I should stay or be alone. I don't wanna be alone tonight. I'm just hoping that you'll be just right. And I hate that I never really know if I should stay or be alone. If I should stay or be alone. I don't wanna be alone tonight. I'm just hoping that you'll be just right. And I hate that I never really know if I should stay or be alone.
You can see straight through my light. Oh, there's something in my chest that I can't hide. When feelings get involved, I'm terrified. 'Cause I've been here before and said goodbye. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? For you, I'd give it one more try. Turn away and wrestle with my doubts. Oh, I leave them all behind, but don't know how. Bury my head deep within the crowd. but I'm reaching for your hand to pull me out. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times?
What if I go stronger? What if I get higher? What if I start doing things I know I will regret? I will make my own way, I will not surrender. I will do my best until I get put under. What if I go stronger? 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 What if I go stronger?
Seeing monsters at your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero. In the stories that we sing, someone's waiting to be told. The act encompasses the blame. We watch the scenes we live unfold. It's in the stories that we sing. Like someone's waiting to be told. The act encompasses the blame. We watch the scenes we live unfold.
Good evening, Club Cult. I need a more awake and enthusiastic way of saying hello. Pulls out of purgatory. Oh, I forgot my Serena spam. Incoming. Incoming. Or not. Secondary keyboard doesn't want to work. If you guys want to keep up with me offline, hop into the Discyboo. Otherwise, we got the fun stuff. Socials. Sketch from when I will see you babies. Some more fun stuff. And welcome to Stream the Dreams Project. Kitty cam incoming. I gotta grab a phone charger. And if you guys have not yet, please do not forget to submit your votes for, not votes, your pre-nomination submissions. Votes is such an easier word. For the 2026 AVN Awards, for your fave cosplayer who's currently doing a bang-up job at cosplaying, is being awake. Being a new kitten mama is something. It's an experience. I can only imagine what this is like with a human spawn. I don't want to imagine. I need a charge on my phone is going to die. Well, yeah, I don't think it charged earlier. Slot pistol booping Babushka. Hello, Toby. Hi, Mr. Bean. All the beans. Yep. She's a little corner gremlin. Either I unplugged my phone while I napped, or the cable's wearing out. Hopefully the cable's not wearing out. I really don't want to have to deal with buying another phone cable right now. That's annoying. Number 3 is like schnuzzled in. I only saw 2. It was worrisome. Ah, that's why I had that expanded like that. Otherwise I can't see things. That was smart of previous Serena. What happened to give us a smile, love? That's smooth talking. Whatever happened to give us a smile, love? Though to be fair, most people don't like being told to smile either. Smile. Meow. Oh, hello, you're wakey wakey bakey. And put up the kitten cam. Meow. You're kitten too. You gotta be kidding me. Hello. Hi. How are you doing tonight, darling? What you doing? You're a goober. You're a goober. I love you, but you're a goober. Ah! What's that doing? Let's maybe do that. Alright, degrump computer. Oh. Next I would be reconnect keyboard that I'm currently trying to use. Nice Babushka. Love you, baby girl. Why can't this just be grouped like that? That'd be so much better. So much better. Welcome, Smoops. How you doing tonight? Happy Friday! Happy Fur Day. They're the wild little Ewok. Are you an Ewok today? I guess so. I guess I just decided that. You are the Ewok of Endor. And you are my heart's content. You're a good girl. Okay, computer, remain calm. Remain calm and carry on. Welcome, Numbfingers. Greetings and salutations. It's very proper. I like that. Happy Friday to you too. I hope the week's been kind to you. Doing good. Yay. Night's going good. It's been an interesting one, but I can't complain. Very rarely can I complain. Things can always be worse, you know? But also, a bitch is gonna bitch. So sometimes maybe I can complain. We share our love obsession for Jar Jar. I actually didn't know all of the Ewok lore until, I don't know, my niece and nephew were almost in like their middle school age years. And then their dad lent me, what is it, not Return to Endor, something Endor and Caravan of Courage. And I got into my Ewok lore, and I learned so much. They were so wonderful. What was the other one? It's gonna bug me. Battle for Endor. That's what it was. They were so cute. They were so cute. They are so comfy with Mama. They're so cozy. They're doing so good. I'm so proud of them. They still haven't let me weigh them since the 3rd day. But they all have big Buddha bellies. It's cool. I already feel like they're so much bigger than they were when they were born. And now they can flip themselves over fully when they turtle. Although that one's really giving me a run for my words right now. And they can almost step up. They can, like, stretch up their front. It's so cool. It's so cool. We have foster babies. Adopt them. Adopt the Oreo colored one, Smoops. I think the camera's misleading though. He's more like gray, and I'm noticing his tail is developing little tabby stripes. He's a little baby cow. Oh, for being the middle child, he's awfully catered to. He's awfully doted upon. Like, I think Mom picked a favorite and she loves that one the most. It's quite funny. She's very extra attentive to that one, but that one's also the loudest. One of the black ones has like almost no meow, and she barely reacts to it, and it gives me anxiety. It has like a, like not like a full mew, it's just like a, like it's a croak. I feel so bad. Oh, keyboard. Where's your cord and how do you reconnect? Thank you, Slavka. That was good timing, but like not to jump on your brother. That's not good stuff. Which one are you? You're that one. This is fun. This is fun. Now is it on again? No? Okay. Do USB extenders wear out over time? That seems logical, that they would just stop working after a period of time. I've had these for a couple years. My mic wasn't connected earlier, and that was connected to it. My mouse is working, and that's connected to it. But the keyboard isn't working, even though I just reconnected it. Which is fine. They can wear out. Oh, this keyboard is old. Like, I've had this keyboard since, like, high school. I didn't consider that the keyboard would wear out. That's definitely possible. I don't think I have a spare one hanging around somewhere. Pull a picture of it. I'm probably using the wrong word. Just extra ports. Glad songs still get made with like voicemail snippets. I like that. It feels like interpersonal. It's cool. These mother suckers. Those things. A hub. A hubba. Yeah, that one. One of them is wearing out. It could be that the keyboard is fucking up itself. It's maybe shorting out the power to everything else in the hub. The hub! Now I know. I'm gonna name all of them hubby number 1, hubby number 2, hubby number 3. My hubby hubs. Hubba. Say hub one more time. I use like 3 of those. They don't make laptops with enough ports these days. Need a fucking PC. Not just want, need. Need. Oh, why are you open? I'm not awake tonight. What is awake anyway? I don't think I'll ever be awake again for the rest of my life. And that's okay. I'm still in my pajamas. We're gonna attempt some Doom. Oh my god, stop typing on the dead keyboard. Stop. It's a dead keyboard. It's dead. It's done for. It's done for. I was having fun with the hub. I was wondering if the slot you plug stuff into matters. I feel like it does, because when I charge everything for the tripod, it all goes into like an extension cord that has USB plugs in it. And that one... Where was I going with that? Oh, it only works plugging in a certain order. But I'm only using 2 stock cables because it only came with 2 stock cables for 4 things. So I wonder if that makes a difference too. I have no idea. That's interesting though. I didn't know the most power hungry thing on a power strip should be first. It's interesting. Yeah, I gotta do my home keys. Remain eye contacting with the screen. It used to give me so much ungodly, unnecessary anxiety to type with the covers over the keyboard. It's like, I can't see if I'm making a mistake in real time. Was I doing one more thing? I think. Oh yeah. Twitch's category. I knew I left something out in my brain. I have a new cousin, you guys! My aunt, who their dog passed away a couple of months ago, they adopted a new baby on the 9th. See, I didn't know I was dyslexic then, and I think that's why it gave me so much stress. She is so cute. She's 10 weeks old. I have more pictures, but I don't know what she's like posted to Facebook and stuff. She said I could post the other ones, so I don't want things cross-traced. People deserve their privacy. It looks like it has Basset in it. I'm guessing it's like a Beagle Basset mix. Look at its fat head. Her name is Daisy. Little Daisy. Like, she's so little, her in the crate. Oh my god. She's so little. She's smaller than Pippi right now, probably. She's a little piglet. A little couch potato. She got little spotters on her feet. She got very spotty feet. Her feet are what make me think Basset most of all. Daisy is such a cute dog name. Actually, is anyone musical? Is Daisy related to anything guitar-y? Because they always name their dogs after musical equipment. Like what's it called when you work together? The compromise is that my aunt gets the dog, but then my uncle gets to name it. So my uncles named them Wilson, not after the sports stuff, but Wilson after like the amplifiers. And then, what was their last one? Oh my god. I'm blanking. I'm completely blanking. They had Wilson and... It's named after a guitar. What was his name? That's gonna drive me bonkers. Gibson. How could I forget Gibson? Thank you. Marshall would be very cute. Gibson was the last one, and now this one's Daisy. So, what is Daisy in music? Or maybe, like, I don't know, their last loss was pretty traumatic. Maybe my aunt got to name this one. Maybe my uncle gave up on that. I always thought it was Wilson from Castaway, but once they named the second one Gibson, I was like, oh, Wilson, the amplifiers. He was kind of a naughty dog. He didn't listen very well. Wilson! Wilson! I can't think of a Daisy music thing either. It's kind of bugging me. I don't know. That's okay. I can't either. I think she just, she got to name this one. I think that's what it is. Daisy, Daisy, give me my answer too. I went crazy, falling in love for you. I don't remember all the words to this. It won't be a shining marriage. I can't afford a carriage, but I'll give you a seat. I'll give you a seat upon the seat. That can't be right, but that's all I've got. On a bicycle built for two. Donald Duck's girlfriend. She does look kind of ducky, so maybe. She got a chunky head. I like her chunky head. I'm excited to meet her. I'm gonna wait until my babies are about 2 weeks old before I do that, because that will be a couple hours long process, and I'm not ready to leave my shins for that long yet. I'm not prepared to leave my babies. Ah, upon the seat, a bicycle built for two. It's a very cute one. It's funny that you mentioned Donald Duck, though. I learned that nursery rhyme from a Goofy sing-along. It was literally a cassette that my grandma had of Goofy doing sing-alongs to different songs. My favorite was, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in the bucket. There's a hole, there's a hole. Because his voice was so enunciated through it. He wasn't just singing. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. It was fantastic. It was a good time in life. I love you. You're still baby. You're all still baby. It was fantastic. I would love to look for it and show it, but I think Disney would sue me. That's like OG. I don't think they even sell that anymore. That's like a collector's item song. Now we go to the opposite of Disneyland. Or what I called Disneyland when I was a kid. Scare the bejesus out of me land. It wasn't really Disney though, that was mostly Universal. Universal I was too young to go to, and we didn't know that until we got through the day, and I called it Scare the bejesus out of me land. They do got their vault sealed tight. There's a couple movies, one of which I was looking for the other day, that are just like completely out of the vault too. Which I was under the impression if I pay for Disney Plus, then I'll get all that Disney has plussed. But no. But no. Do you want to come up? What do you want, baby? Come here. I know the full moon already happened, but Slavka's having a very full moon day. Ringo's having a very full moon day. Mama Void is even kind of having a full moon day. I don't know what's going on here. Slavka thinks my feet are dirty right now and need to be licked, so that's nice. Thanks for sharing. Ew, you're all wet. What do you keep getting into that you get all wet? Her whole side is wet. You can't groom yourself that much. Remember waiting in line for the Tower of Terror only to chicken out at the last moment? I would have chickened out too. Just seeing that ride advertised when I was a kid gave me the jeebies. I don't like things that drop, though. I think I have a pretty natural fear of, like, fully falling with it. It just expands from my fear of elevators. I don't remember what was in here, but I remember it was not good. A buff totem nearby. Suck my dick. Got a token. A mastery token. Woo. Do we have to? I need to put my hair up. It's warm. It's a little bit warm in the house for the kittens, but they have their heater on too. But I am a hot girl tonight. I don't know what's going on. Ponytail hours. It's not like my hair was neat to begin with, that's fine. It's good enough for government work. Really, we're just taking the Violet Baudelaire way of focusing here. We're taking a page out of her book. This is one of the newer ones, though. That's okay. God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. Dirt is good. I'm still a little bit... Oh, these guys. The Star Wars guys that are in the wrong realm. I'm really quite impressed with myself that I didn't realize that there was a Doom in between here, and I thought this was Doom 2016 and never bothered to look what the difference between this and Eternal was. When you try your best and you maybe succeed. Like, there's a whole one in between this one and 3 that I just missed. It's beautiful. Get out of my way! Oh, oh, whoa, whoa. Where are you going, girl? Where was the totem? If we can at least find that within survival moment. Yeah! Okay. Fuck you and your super powered shit. That was the wrong gun, but okay, that was cool. I don't know why I thought that would be effective for anything. But I did. Oh, it did get him. Okay. Yay. Does that mean everyone is calm? We did not beat... Yeah, no. There's no way this room was that easy. That doesn't even happen in, like, the first 5 minutes of the game. Hey, hey, aggro buddy. No. You. No. Oh, and he's in here too. That's lovely. Fuck your shit. I will die for this. We are not surviving this. I don't think, anyway. Maybe. Maybe. The Dark Ages looks so cool, but I'm so terrified at the thought of playing it. I don't think that's something I could succeed in. Oh, yeah. No, we gotta survive this one first. The Dark Ages looks so cool, though. That one I feel like was heavily advertised, but I don't know. Maybe I was just like chronically on. I don't know. I know I was online in 2016, but just not in the right spaces. I guess I was in Cam Girl Brain in 2016 instead of Gamer Girl Brain. Shame on me! Oh my goodness. OG Doom is the shit. Once we get through this, maybe we'll do some retro nights for Fridays. Because we have the old ones on here. It's okay, I'm dyslexic. I can read through 99% of typos. I think we were like 2 chapters into this one when it first came out. Because I got the noti when it first came out that Sasha Grey was playing it on Twitch. And I was like, oh my god, it's here! It looked really cool. I watched for a few minutes. I was dooming already. I'm always doomed. But there's I think like an immense amount of drops or there's some kind of exciting thing that went along with it on Twitch when it came out. Something. Slavka, what are you doing? You just made Mom run into a wall. What are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. Bath time. Bath time for the babies. I don't know what it was. It was something. Oh, we can do that from far? That's cool. I don't know if that was a good idea to jump over. Let's do a whole lot of shoot at nothing. Get out me way. No more of that. I literally cannot imagine playing this on hard mode. I think that's both a testament to my willingness to have fun and a testament to... What are you doing? my unwillingness to get upset with games. Because if it's this hard on easy, like, damn. Damn, son. I can't even kill the easy guy. Big trouble here, boss. Ah! Did he go down? Like, he went down, but, like, in a dead way? I think I have 2 spiders on my tail. Oh, I fell over. Ah! I forgot that we respawned. I forgot we're allowed to do that. No, that's not who I wanted to shoot that at. Oh, hello, everybody. Hello. It's still worth it. It looks cool. Borderlands 4 just dropped. Nice! Have you played any of it yet? That's exciting. Did they cheap out on the weapons? I feel like I read or saw somewhere, maybe like 6 months ago, that the weapons were going to be less impressive in this one. But the gameplay was going to be more immersive. It's like one trade-off for another. Maybe we'll just start with that. It's burning everything with fire. It's more than just a ring. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that did not work. You can't see over you, son. You other mucker. Oh, that accomplished way more than I meant to. Oopsies. Bean, I can't see over you. It's an awfully shootable wall over there. Whoa, what are you? Is that where? Oh, that's where we came in. I thought I found a secret area. Well, yeah. You're bonking into things here, son. Although, you know what? For once, it doesn't matter if you lay on the keyboard because it doesn't work. Do you want to lay on the keyboard? You get special privileges tonight. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Still waiting on the info on it to drop. I wouldn't blame you for that. Let it work out all of its little kinks first. See how other people are doing with it, if it's really worth getting. The weapons kind of look like the ones in 3. Maybe they didn't change them a lot then. Maybe that's what I should have interpreted from whatever I was learning. Finally! As if you are the most difficult guy here, which you are certainly not. We're in trouble soon. Missiles incoming! Whoa! 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 No! 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 Oh! That was cool. I didn't know I could do that. That was hype. Ghostbusters! No! Stop it, you fucking stupid ass. Let me Ghostbusters a bitch! Where am I? What is this? No! Stay away from me! No, you're naughty! I Hulk smashed that bitch! And then they Hulk smashed me right back! Yeah, I do want that. That's not who I wanted to use it against, but that's okay too. Okay. You're just hanging on by a thread there, son. I mean, so am I. No judgment zone here, but... Good lord. Whee! Lara Croft! Okay, take it. No, take it. Bitch, take it. Shit, shit. Can't chainsaw you. Shit, shit, shit. Panic, panic, panic. Time to panic. Time to panic. Time to panic. Time to panic. No, no. We've gotten so close. No, no. There's health over there. No, no, Serena. No. on for dear life. I don't know why keywords are so comfy for cats either. I think it's just more something that gets your attention. Whether it's negative or positive, it gets your attention. Also, it has your smells on it, like your little greasy finger scents. Not saying you have greasy fingers, it's just more fun to say it that way. Handsome Jack. I'm really glad Reese didn't become his apprentice, so to speak, I guess. In the Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale one that they did. I don't know, I've never done a truly terrible playthrough with it. Maybe eventually he can, but it doesn't reflect in the second one, but the second one also kind of sucked. Fireworks! That was too perfect. I did nothing there at all. It's too perfect. See, that's the gun that I said he used for them, and I don't see that as a viable option. Oh no, it is getting the right guy. Okay. I got both of them. I got stuck. Ah. Ah. There's shells for this somewhere. Lara Croft. Oh, well, hello. Shoot you in the butt. Oh. I wanted to punch him and get the goodies. Did not end up to be so. Hey, that was really rude. Bad manners, buddy. Bad manners. No, no, Scoochie. Scoochie boot. No overboard. No overboard. No overboard, please. I'll just spawn there. You? Y'all need to chill. Just calm down, babe. Still haven't seen the big guy yet. Need to chainsaw something. Real bad. Should have been him. No! Get out of my way! No, no, guys. Everything we just worked for just went down the drain. Can't do that like that. That's not who we are. Ghostbusters! Oh, he can hit me and stop that. Okay, I learned. She is now self-aware. There's gotta be someone creeping around down here, right? Right? You. Give me juice. I still need more health. Watch. After the guy on the wheels, there's gonna be a monitor. Just watch. Just wait. These little sequential cunts. Give me your health. Give me your life force. Ah! Quit hitting me. I'm having fun being a Ghostbuster. Don't you know? I don't remember what was best for him. I mean, that's okay. Voya, mommy has to be able to see. This is the farthest suit, baby. Babe. I'm not saying that was on you because mommy isn't a very good gamer, but that was extremely unhelpful. We were so close. We were so close. We were so close. Did I give Reese a mustache? Oh, I don't remember. It's been too long. I liked the first Tales from the Borderlands. Tales of or Tales from? I can never remember which. Should play through it again. I feel like I end up playing through it like every October or November. I like it. Instead of cock blocked, I got cat blocked. And he's looking at me so cute and snuggly and sweet. I think I see the other one with Mama. Mama. Ooh. Yeah. And the other two is snuggling. Alright, it's been about an hour. I'm gonna check on the stinkies really quick. Get a visual. It helps my anxiety to see them breathe. Like, I know they're fine, but still, it freaks me out. It freaks me out. Oh, Foya, Mom forgot to take meds. Ringo was being an absolute Nimrod. Love that for him. I was getting ready for stream, and I feel like I forgot everything that's, like, integral to the start of. You gotta check on the stinkies. I gotta check on your nieces and nephews. I don't know how many of them there are yet, but... or how many of each gender yet, but we shall see. Whenever you guys are ready, feel free to either on stream or in Discord and Fur Babies submit your votes for what you think the genders for 1, 2, and 3 are, and I guess the prize, if you get all of them right, will be naming them, which I'm gonna laugh if like 3 of you get them all right, and then you all end up getting to name them. You guys gotta duke it out for which one though. Oh, of course they're content and peaceful at this age. They're only a week old. They'll be a week old tomorrow. Isn't that what everyone says about their kids? They're fun until they learn to talk. Aw, I've been singing that to them. Try not to like say too much to Mama or like express my anxiety. Soft kitty, warm kitty. I want to just hold them so bad. But Mom says, they're my babies. It's okay though. I'm confident once they get a little bit more grown up, she'll be kind of sick of their shit, and it'll be fine. And check on the stinkers. Sorry, Mom, you got an infographic over your head. Mubby. Burb, burb. Burb, burb, burb. Burb is the word. Wait, we got so far. But I love you so much. But this phone that you're laying on, I need for flashlighties. Thank you. I love you. I love you. Boy, you ditched the desk. That was rude. PlayStation, do you need an inhaler? Sheesh. Oops. Thought the controller turned off on me. It was a lie. They are all good. Either 1 or 3 is having big dreams right now. I can't tell the difference between the two of them anymore. But one of them seems to have like tabby stripes along with the black. I don't know what that's gonna end up looking like. And the middle child, I think I said earlier, is developing little tabby stripes like rings on his tail. That was so cute. There's an all-white male that hangs out and a cow-spotted male that has less gray but still cow spots, like number 2. And one of them is the baby. I have a feeling that the cow-spotted one is the daddy. The baby daddy. I'm never getting out of this room. Do I have an adrenaline shot? Is that what that is? Oh no, it's my sword. I just don't have my glasses on. Out of pure laziness. They're literally right in front of me. Right from the start. That was a beautiful entry. Wow. Okay. Hi, everyone. I was not prepared for this. I'm dead right off the get-go. Jesus. Is it even worth trying to get to the totem? Kill me. Oh my god. Let's try that again. Both totem nearby. I thought that didn't trigger until I punched the thing. Just but a scratch. If only. If only. Let's do bouncy bouncy. I feel like destroying the totem first is the best thing to do. That everyone's at least at like normal level. Okay, I acknowledge that I, in general, have no aim. But what am I coming back to do here? Excuse you. What are you doing, Serena? I guess we're okay on health. I need Shmammo. Oh! Ah! Forgot we come back! I don't think I'm ever gonna commit that to memory. In game. It surprises me every time. Alright, we're doing okay. We're surviving the moment. We can do this. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Yay. Yay. Alright. You're a rude little bitch. I have some distance on him. I probably can do this for a sec. Where'd he go? Around. Ha! I have a shield. We are but equals. No! No, no, we're not. I die and you don't. We are not the same. Low health. No shit. We're working on it. Oh! No, no, don't do that again. You're too big to give me health. Shit. You can give me health though. Please. Please. Where are you? Can you shoot? There you go. He did like an alien mouth. That was cool. No! No! He's just following him around like a little bitch. I need some health to withstand this. Quit moving around! No more shield for you, Serena. Get out of the corner. Get out of the corner. Get out of the corner. Corner bad. Oh, fuck you. He's a stinky butt. All the rooms that do and don't have health packs, I'm surprised there's not one in here. And by surprised, I mean dejected. Ghostbusters! Ghostbusters! What, huh? Okay, you can stop panic shooting now. Take a break. Take a break, Lara Croft. Calm down. This is so much more intense than it needs to be. So much more. No, get up there, you slut. We just re-upped on health. Come on now. Come on now. Spawn me your goodies. Please. Okay. Now we just try really hard. Yes! Be dead! Be done! No more! No more! We made it. As with the tiny progress of watching this little one walk along, we too made it through. Wonder what they're thinking when they do that. Like, am I warm? Do I want to be by mom, but I don't remember that I'm by mom? Do I want to be with my siblings? Aw. That one's just hungry. Hungry, hungry hippos. I've been calling them the 3 little pigs. Somehow this needs to open, I think. How? I don't know. Where is there something green that means go? I don't know. I don't know, Margot. There's literally stairs right there. Open. Open sesame. How do you open? Green is up there. Shit. Gymnastics? Oh, 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 oh! Please don't let me fall and die getting over to those. Please? Oh! Oh, okay. We can't fall and die. Well, I mean, like, we probably can, but with careful fuck-uppery, we can't. Oh. you want the pole, not the... Oh, grab it! There's not a climbing thing over there. I don't think. No, we just gotta get up there. There we go. Yay. Alley-oop. Choo. Does it only open it for so long? Of course. No! Oh, we did it. Okay. Just barely. Holy shit. By a fucking nose hair. Oh, Jesus. Why? I did not come in here for this. Good lord. No. No. No, you're not even that damaged. We're in trouble. Oh my god, we're in big trouble. Big, big, big trouble. Okay. Someone needs to be chainsawed. Just a sploot. Sir, where are you going? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. What's nerve-wracking is this room was just foreplay. Oh god. Oh god. The 3 on the clock looked like a 5. That was confusing. Whoa. There's a cool storm and sky happening outside. It's pretty nifty. Keyboard doesn't work, Serena. This is not in my job description. It is just not. Part where we die 1,000 times trying to figure it out. Alright, let's go. Okay. Strong, independent revenant. Some power. It's not Star Wars. Enough with the acid spew. Who the hell do you think is you? Whoop. Oh shit. I waited too long. Boom. So we get like mini arenas in this part, which is still just as nerve-wracking, but also interesting. Whoa! And there's you. Of course there's you. Why wouldn't there be you? Why not? I strongly dislike that guy. He's a mockery of survival. It's a mockery of survival. He's the Mordor. And he's not my friend. That's backwards. Where you going, girl? He's not my friend. He's cool, though. He's incredibly hard to get. Whee! So I don't know if I need to destroy everyone first. If I can just... Ah! A couple of the little guys. No, no, yes. Okay. Now we're cooking. Until I get spewed with acid. It's not effective from range at all. Oh, I still got hit with the acid. It'd be cool if we could make him get spewed by his own acid. Like turn green, bubble up, and melt away. And he still gets to stay out. That's cool. Good for you. You fast little shit. Nope, nope, let me out of the corner. Let me be free. Where'd he going? Shit. Should have hit him with rockets there. Damn it! You and your beast. Your beast is behind me. Now it's beside me. I'm gonna die. Get out of my way! No! Scary. Scary. Oh. We were vulnerable for but a moment. Could have accomplished something there, but no. No, of course not. Son of a fuck. So close, yet so goddamn far. Scoop, scoop. I need to get some help. I'm cooked. How did you respawn that again so fast? Why do I have to have cooldown time, but you don't? That's unfair. Why is he so difficult, lemon difficult? Flash your eyes green already. Please. Please die. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't blink enough. My eyes are watering so bad. Ha! There's a health pack right there. That's cute. Oh. I just pressed buttons. I didn't know what I was doing. My eye is watering so bad. Show them buggers who is boss. I mean, I'm maybe not boss, but foreman, definitely. Wait. Thank you. So proud of myself. I'm crying. Just kidding. I didn't blink enough. Well, ruh-roh. What's the next configuration station in this here nation? What you want me to do? So I'm supposed to just trust the process? I'm not big on that. That was pretty cool. Moments like that make me happy. Whee! That's back to the start. Huh? I don't know about that. Oh, secondary portal. Wrong one. I need a tissue. This is obnoxious. My mirror. There we go. It's the perfect time of year for sinus irritation to come along. And I think I've mentioned a million times before, whenever we have a new member of the zoo, I'm slightly allergic until I get used to them. Which is okay. It's nothing to complain about at all. It's just eyes. Whee! I like that one took me kind of sideways. Needed a little extra bonus jump there. Who's waiting for us over here? It's a BFG cell, so that's good but bad. So, what are we doing? Ghostbusters! It's probably getting so annoying and I can't control it. I'm sorry, but I'm also not. Empowered mancubus. I hear they exist on the internet, mostly. You! You! Sword! Sword! Death by sword! Death by sword! Death by sword. I wish I could do things like that, because I recognize they are very helpful and like a good DIY to do at home to have like relief. Feel better. Feel good. Uh-oh. My nostrils are kind of borked up. I've broken my nose a bunch of times, and those things are incredibly painful for me to do, unfortunately. Sword! No, no, get over here, you fucknut. I don't even know if I got him. I think I did. Now we're just having a grand old time running away from everyone. Oh, not anymore. Oh shit. Oh, that wasn't worth it. Not shot. Who is fire? What is happening here? Too much. No, no! Don't bounce up. There's just someone over here. You got this. You can do it. You can do it. Seasonal allergies suck. I never had them when I was a kid. But as an adult, they've gotten worse and worse and worse every year. Oh, dead. My gaming gets better. Sometimes my allergies get worse. Gotta get out of the city. That's the problem. Where's my fire friend? I mean, I just shouldn't avoid everyone else in the process. Sword! I don't know, I still feel like the BFG is less powerful than the sword. The BFG does not guarantee perfect death. Getcha! Maybe. Nope. I think that's how you guys have been using the shotgun the most. And I didn't realize I could use it that way. Like rapid fire style. It's nice. Schnifty. What is this shadow? Oh, it's you! Look at you. Well, that sucks. Just gonna do our best with that one. Ah, I was gonna punch you. Gonna punch you in your guts. But no. Apparently just no. You're too big to do that with. You're not able to have that done with yet. Swim away, swim away. There you are. No bouncies. Hopefully this influx is the challenge and no martyr. I was just late when I called, or early when I called it for the other room. How did that not do more to him? He's a weakling. He's just a little guy. You're booping around over here. Replenish me. Thank you. Don't take that too far. What's over there? Just the other side of this. Hee hee. There's a whole little party going on over here. No one invited me. That's rude. You guys just chilling? I should have chainsawed someone. Free up on ammo instead of using it. It's okay. I think that's just about everything in here. So which launch pad did we come in on? Guess let's find out. Oh shit. Oh, I thought I at least grazed the side of it. This is indeed the next one though. Okay. Where are you taking me from here, friend? I don't quite understand that one. Where's the second? Or I guess rather the third. Oh, too shy, short. Where in the fuck do you expect me to go from there? There has to be another circle that I'm missing. Otherwise, that's just not logical. I love when it's like right here. Oh my gosh. There you go. It's also the draftiest room in the house. It probably doesn't help. Probably not. The fireplace is in here. It's all open. Oh! 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 That. Okay. Now I see. How the... Can we? It's just... This has to be the glitch of a lifetime. That was so uncomfortable. Like, what? Is that the object of the moment? Or at this point, I'm better off just ending it all. Health is too low. So kind, but so annoying to leave me at 1. I don't know if it saved it to the last round of buddies, but we'll see. Every next level is a secret level to me. Oh, do I have to do it again? Or are we just over here? No, it's okay. Was it this one? Oh. Wait. I don't think we're done over here. I think we're doing this again. Damn it. I did not sign up for this. Or is it just them? Maybe it's just them. My little posse. I guess. Okay. Good on those. That was nerve-wracking yet. Okay, was there another? It sounded like someone else grumbled. I don't know. I'm attempting to get the fuck out of here. No, how did I run out of dashes again? How does this need to be timed? That's how, I guess? That's still not getting me close. But okay. You can kind of launch yourself into that. And then kind of launch yourself into that. Get the fuck, what? He like halters with the second dash. This is maddening. I hate these parts. I started that off wrong from the bat. I'm goofing from the get-go here. Oh, thank fuck. You silly little bitch. Never again. Where the hell do you want me to go from here? What is your plan? This is not sensical. From here to where? What? Oh my god. Gotta Lara Croft this bitch. Jump. Jump. Dash. Extra bouncy jump. Take that from overhead. Where is that taking me to? Over there. Die again. That one's up so high. Good lord. Good lord. It's making my hands sweat. This is nerve-wracking. Like, is it not enough to just stay alive? I have to do this too. Staying alive is hard enough. We don't need this too. Alley-oop. Alley-oop. We do got it, eventually. That's the point of torture night. We got it, just eventually. Please, please. Oh, thank you. Of course, you need to spawn here. That's lovely of you. It's fantastic. That's phenomenal. That's supreme. Oh, him exploding gets everyone else too. That's cool. I'll take it. Is he trapped in there? No, he's just chilling. We made it! That was uncomfy. We gotta feed Mr. Ringo and a few. Who else is grumping around somewhere? Are they in the other room? Whatever the hell that is. I don't know what that's opened, except I feel like a lot of trouble. The door! I don't want to go through that door. That did not really give me a choice. Well, this is going to be a really fun room. It has portals. It's going to be great. It's going to be so great. Ghostbuster sniping. Oh, I did not want to run into you. That was a no. A no, thank you. Oh, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. Bad guys. Bad guys. Okay, time to run. Time to run. Time to run. Get out of here. Let me out of here. Die! By a hair. Oh, where did you just bounce up to? Stinky booger. Where am I? Corners are not a good choice. There's two of you? Are you dicking me? Good lord. And you. Son of a bitch. Oh, I thought that was for sure death down. Where am I going? Oh, sword. In the moment, I genuinely cannot tell the difference between the sword or the totem. Shield launch unlocked. Why are you here and so big? We don't need this. We don't need this kind of negativity in our lives. Get me out of here. Up. God. Why? I knew that was gonna happen. God. My eyes will not stop tonight. Need the allergies to stop. Need to be able to get more sleep. Unnecessary conduct. Oh, guys. That's not how we wanted any of this to go. Come on. Okay. Being in this corner is not the choice we're gonna make right now. Is there an out? Yes. Okay, instead of just mauling your way forward. Let's do that. Oh my god. Oh, I went over him. That works too. I don't want to be using this gun for him. Whoa, I portaled. It was confusing as fuck. Nope, 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 you're not gonna fucking chicken peck my head, you fool. It's only a matter of time. Oh, actually, it's time to feed Ringo. And then we shall prevail. Actually, does it show progress? For which portals we're at? Align the celestial rings. We're still at 1 out of 3. Is there 3 goes per? That's nerve-wracking. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy, happy, joy. Oh my god. I get knocked down, and I get up again. Aw, you're so cozy and comfy. I'm gonna try putting some eye drops in when I feed Ringo too. Sheesh. It feels counterproductive, but if they're irritated, that'll help. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. I try. I try very hard. You're not always succeed, but I try very hard. Be back in just a little bit. We gotta feed Ringo. Mr. Ringo Ragu Rigatoni. It's his newest nickname. Enjoy that. Savor it.
was wrong to say I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through color glass.
Oh yeah. Are we talking about losing control? I'ma show you how we lose control, baby. Watch this. Look, Marty Mark. Watch the way I start up. I've been going hard, but I can go way harder. Every beat I'm on, yeah, you know that I slaughter. And I'm always looking gorgeous, chilling with somebody's daughter. Yeah, she loving me. Say she love the way my chain sitting contemplate. And of course it says my name if you wanna rate. To let you know who's finna blow. Always win and check the scope. I'm only losing control. Oh. I like losing control. I like get high when I'm feeling my flow. My mind is focused and I'm ready to go. Ready to go. Nah, nah. Always win and check the scope. I'm only losing control. Oh. I like losing control. Most days I can barely leave my bed, 'cause someone lives rent free inside my head. I say I'm not okay, I'm terrified when I go to sleep, when I close my eyes. What the hell am I supposed to do? Oh my God, I can't breathe, and I don't know why. Angels come and they leave into the midnight sky. You only know how much you meant. You only know the time we spent.
up in the party, flyer than everybody.
We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party.
We show up in the party. We show up in the party. We show up in the party. We show up in the party. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody.
We show up in the party, flyer than everybody.
We show up in the party, flyer than everybody.
We show up in the party.
We show up in the party. We show up in the party.
Don't tell me what to do, PlayStation. Let me connect the controller when I'm good and ready. Thank you very much. Aw, Hungry's times. Mango or pina colada sorbet / sherbet. Ooh. Both sound good. Honestly, if it were me, I would get both. Then like a bite of one and a bite of the other. A bite of one and a bite of the other. Because the two are such good flavor combos, I wouldn't be able to choose. Thank you for the welcome back. Appreciate you, Bebs, being patient with me. I don't remember what I was coming back to. The sequence of unfortunate events. Went with the mango. Nice. Mango you can never go wrong with. So good. If I'm ever trying a smoothie from a new place, I usually go with mango. It's hard to fuck up mango. I'm sure it's doable. It hasn't been done to me yet. Welcome, Mad Topher. How you doing tonight? Happy Friday! Yay, yay, yay. Probably has a very short ingredient list, which is good. It's very good. I was looking at the back of granola bars that I really like that are like for toddlers, and I just assumed that they would be, I don't know, not healthier but less complex than normal people, adult food. I don't know. No, they have like a laundry list of flavors or of ingredients. It's not good. I want to find better ones. It's not good. What was I even doing? I went through a door. Oh, all of this. That's where we left off. How fun. How fun. Just thrilling. Oh, that was ineffective. Empowered demon. Your mom's empowered. Strong, independent demon. Everyone can just take rockets right now and fuck right off. Just fuck right off. We're done. We're done. We're over with. This is not how I intended to go into all of this, but this is where we are. It's just a sign of the times. Oh god, that's louder than shit. I always forget I have to turn this game down a little bit. It's abrasive. From a distance. I have not been slaying. I've been dying. I feel like I've been dying more than winning. But that's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we learn. From a distance. Just imagine you like sitting across the room, staring at like a phone screen with a telescope. I appreciate the lurk. The lurk is good work. Oh, I have no rockets. I have no rockets. I have a BFG, but we're not using that right now. Ghostbusters! I'm gonna die. I'm done. I'm done for. Unless, like, that magically works. Okay. Fuck. Should have Ghostbustered him. It's better for him. Oh no. Just epically shoot at nothing. I love that. That's my favorite. No more shield for you, though. Only booms for us both. I can't help it. I can't help it. The soul of Serena carries on, but Doom Guy dies. Welcome, Romeo. I hope you're having a good night. Marvelous start to the weekend. How am I, like, just not conscientious of where to go in the start here? I don't know. I feel like that was a good way to start. Quit pooping out, gun. Maybe not then. Okay. You pooped out on me. Shiny, colorful, shiny. I don't think that's where I wanted to jump up to. But that's where we jumped up to. Oh, bother. You're such a stinker, and I think I'm cool enough to be able to do that. That's funny. Where are you, Acid Man? You're over there. No! 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 Oh, there's so much of that ammo everywhere. Maybe we should just be using that and the shotgun. I like the shotgun mod. I never gave it enough time or a chance. That's not gonna help at all. Is it with the super shotgun? No. Combat shotgun. Serena's last stand. Serena's last stand. Cow looks so confused. Like, why did you move, Mom? What is going on here? They screech so loud when she gives them a bath. I feel bad. I feel like she has to. But they get so fussy about it. They're all so fussy. I think that's a good sign. Like, crying baby is a healthy baby. I don't know. Maybe that's just at birth. Like, you know their lungs are clear. Oh! Right away and all that fun stuff if they cry right away. I think. I don't know. I'm theorizing. 2 for 1? Almost. Except I focused too hard on you and now we're doomed. Yeah. Is that even worth it? Oh God, there's a sword up there. I want that. I didn't want that. That was not the objective. Alright, I want to make it out of this room before the end of the night. I don't know if that's possible or not. We're gonna try. Doom Eternal is like just a whole bunch of escape rooms. I've never been to an escape room, but I imagine that's at least the level of anxiety that one would feel within. I am just perfectly missing you. loot. Goodies. Spawn of Satan. Satan. Wish we had grenades. I miss grenades. Grenades were fun. Grenades are good. Well, you did a bouncy before I was ready for a bouncy, sir. Don't you know? Oh God, all of you. That's too much. You gotta calm down, one at a time. One at a time. Where's the sword? Sword. Sword in the stone. Oh, you fucker. Go respawn somewhere else. I'm busy. Shit! This is not good times. This is not good places. You need to fucking calm down with your location. You are just happy as a clam to be the biggest fuck in the world, aren't you? Good lord, this room is stressful. It's stressful. I'm gonna get hit with acid from behind in like 2 seconds. Just die. Just die. Sword? For at least one, but I should have used it against the less damaged one. Dang it. Oh, it's like almost dissipated and it still hurts me. That sucks. I don't have enough punch in me for you. Oh my god. This is the epitome of fucking bad. Just when I think the rooms can't get worse, they do. They sure dang do. They got no business doing that. Really? You too. You too. And you too. And you too. Let me out of here. Let me out. Lara Croft. Fuck. Fuck. In that corner, I should have used the BFG. That would have done, like, multiple annihilations at once. That would have been in my favor. Shit. Can it be done? Maybe? No. I'm gonna die from acid. Just everybody go boom. Just everybody go boom. Leave me alone. Go boom. Please. Please. Go, where'd you... I like the Energizer Bunny. They never wear out. I do, but they don't. I am the Slayer, but I am Slade. I am Slade. Eyeball break. I don't know, maybe it's my lights. When I was outside, I felt better. I don't understand. Nah. Bruv. New year coming. Problematic. This one is like gets my scent. Just follows instantly. I don't know what it is. It's like the kittens when they hiss at me. No, 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 no. It's meant for you to not run at me. Let's do that. And you and your acid spews. Let's not do that. So awkward. This is like counter-striking with a controller to dodge like that. And that's awkward to do. You do not get the speed that you can get with a mouse. Mouse! So that's gonna do shit from that distance. No, no, you silly fucking bitch. No. Go! You're right there. Ripe for the picking. Worry about the big guy, Goofy. Like, oh, here's the smaller guy next to him. Let's eliminate him first. Why? He's gonna hurt you less. I will blow us both up. Do not test me. And we panic shoot! Is everyone down here chilling? God damn. See, and I don't think this is like even a climactic portion, which is nerve-wracking. Because it still says 1 out of 3 for the portal thingies. I think. Yeah, align the celestial rings. 1 out of 3. Eyes, calm down. I'm just crying because you're all so beautiful. Where are you on your way up? Come here. Or don't, but choose. Choose your weapon. Choose your fighter. Uppy boy or chilly boy? Oh, does Gunther want to be uppy boy? What's Gunther doing? Hello. Do you want uppy boy status? Boya says, what about me? What about me? You goober. That's right, you can sit on the keyboard. You can sit on the keyboard. Oh, wonderful rest of your night, Numbfingers. I appreciate your company. It's nice to see you. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the kickoff to your weekend. Gunther says, nighty night. Aw, thank you. Does that work for you? Cozy. Cozy babu. Enjoy your movie. Get some good rest. Oh, did you not want up? Gunther did not want up. That was a lie. He just wanted the idea of up. I think Gunther's secretly a girl sometimes. I don't know. Maybe starting from up top is not the way. Although that sure seems like it was a lot more beneficial than that. Not helpful. Kind of knocked him on his butt though. That was satisfying. Wasn't even worth the approach. Rockets for everyone! Rockets for everybody! Oh god. Hate it here. Meow. Slavka up. For as ballsy as she is with everything, she asks for lap time. Which, okay, there you go. Move on to the next one, baby cat. It's interesting. sword. Where'd the guys go? They're somewhere, I'm sure. Yep. I hit the fucking stairs. God damn it. Shit! Is the other one behind me? You're there, though. Lovely for you. I'm going to run out of rockets. I have run out of rockets. Portal! Nope, we don't want to go that way. Okay, we're not going to focus on you at the moment. Ah! No, no bueno. Bruv! Okay, fuck it, with all. Please get both of them. There's you. Did that get both of them? I don't know, but there's you. And you! I forgot about you. I don't want you. I need health. I need health. I need healthies. No, get over here. No, not get over here. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just big kidding. Big kidding. How long can one just aimlessly run and survive? Everybody! Oh, jeez. A split second, and we would have respawned. Or stayed spawned. So close. Actually, not really, but further than before. That's okay. Mr. Voya, you're so happy with yourself. Who else just... Do I have to jump down for everyone else to spawn? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lame. I'm pretty sure the other one is right behind me. I don't know, is it worth it to fuck it up that bad? Maybe. Damn, that did not go anywhere near you. I should use the ice freeze on everyone else around me when I plan to do that. Because I get myself in trouble. I sure dang do. Oop, whoop, what? It was way too awkward. Where's the horny guys? I have concerns. There's you. Oh, you fucker, you're still alive. How did I not contain that to memories? Shit. Shit! not the way to do it, but it's mildly effective. Now we run away like little bitches. Swim away, swim away. I'm not gonna have 2 darn seconds to shoot you before. Not this guy. I faltered for a second. Don't ever falter. Don't do that. You know better. I need to use the BFG on some group of somebody's. Eyeball break. It's very annoying. Excuse me, ma'am. I literally can't look down and see, honey. Little Slavushka, what? She says, Mom, come on, it's dinner time. You got like 15 minutes, bro. You're good. Mom's taking a mom break. I think that's them 2 snuggled and then 1 being rogue. 1 and 3 switch between being the rogue. Aw, she's just looking at them. She says, that's my babies. I made those. Magical little peanut. Pop that back up. One of these times we survive, right? Where are you zooming off to? Where'd the other one go? Shouldn't destroy like immediate fuel, but still that's one less thing that'll get me later. Whoa! We're going down. He jumped over that perfectly. Like he was born to do that. Like he was trained to do that his whole life. That little stinky butt. Already? Oh, that's awkward. Like, shot his back out. You will shoot your eye out. But it was his back. Uh-oh. Oh, that scared the hell out of me. One of my cloud decorations just fell. It is spooky season. Scared the fuck out of me. It's like broke in half when it came down. Oh, I should take all of them down anyway. They're just there. I never use them for anything. They were an excellent idea, but I should have done them recessed like many, many, many feet back. Let me see if I can hook that back up there. Or did the whole... Oh, the whole command hook fell. Huh. Can I just shove it behind the monitor? That's not a long-term solution, but it's a potential solution. No. Let's see. There's like 3 of them attached, so it's not like that simple to just undo, or I can't plug it individually, I think. Maybe the power is run through it. I did these so long ago. That scared the heck out of me. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Which is the one attached to this? This one to here. Here. Two kids don't try this at home. I think that's the one. I don't know what that attempted to accomplish. Except unplugging it. Oh, what if I untie it? Then everything will come down. Ah! But it's low enough now where I can just throw it off to the side, so that's okay. Okay. It's actually, there's the slug, it doesn't get into it. Speak of the devil. Nope. Those are a big nope. Big nope, baby girl. Mm-mm. Not for Slavushkas. Oh, I kind of forgot we were in the Delves of War. Shikeys. Sword. No, that ain't it. You have got to be gettable. Thank you. You. That's the wrong gun. That's, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. What is even the lesser of two evils between these motherfuckers? Jesus. Nothing. They're equally awful. Good God. There has to be some point where it's the best point to use the BFG. What might it be? Spew! Pretty rainbows. I don't know where I think I'm going. Super promising start. Like, ran faster than me. Oh. He surpassed it to me. Okay. Hugh, you are such a motherfucker. See, now I see why the shotgun is fantastic. Niche the mod. Oh god, everyone. No. Need healthies. Save that for later. wormy guys coming up on my tail. Ah. Why is that still a thing? It should disappear when he does. It's not fair. Oh my god, get off of me! Off! Bad. Bad demon. Naughty. Not okay. I don't even know what I'm hitting right now. Death. As wonderful as that is, I don't think it's really an option in here. It makes me too slow unless I can perfectly align it with the freeze. Oh, goodness golly. I don't think we're gonna get through here tonight. She's crashing out. She's crying. I don't know why my eyeballs are doing this. It's so annoying. How are you not getting shot? That was not worth any of that. Just kill me now. What was even attempted to be accomplished? There was a glitch in one of the parts of Return to Castle Wolfenstein, I think I've mentioned before, where if you died enough times and you were close enough to the siren, it would just trigger the siren as soon as you would respawn, and I feel like this is about as effective as that. Hulk smash. I swear to God, this is getting harder and more. Everyone's out at once every single time. You said you weren't going to use that anymore. Punchy punch. But I'm gonna die trying, but that's okay. We don't live. We laugh. We love. It's enough. It's an honest life. This is worse every next moment. There's just no part of this that's a single ounce of okay. It's not okay. Someone's got their big nasty man hands over there. Good Christ, what's going on? What are you up to? Who are you? What are you doing? What am I doing? What are any of us doing? What is life? Oh, oh, oh. Bad controller drift moment. Bad. Not you. What is the stratagem for you? What is it? Because I don't know it. I am simply panic shooting you. That's the most I've got. Sword? Sword the way of the world for you? Christ and shit. Eyes are driving me bonkers. I feel like putting on my glasses might help. But I feel kind of claustrophobic when my eyes aren't functioning properly. And I don't think that would be a good solution. Sploot! God. Just go die. Just go die. You're joking me, right? I thought we already got him. Is there two of him? I thought we already got him. Just recklessly waste every amount of ammo anywhere for any reason. There you go. Oops. I need things. And that doesn't mean you. God, we have a chance that my eyes are going to betray me. Betrayal. There's two of you. Why is there two of you? That's the best option. Is the BFG. Yo, I'm like actively dripping out my eyeballs. Oh my god. This is so fracking annoying. I really thought we were gonna have it in like 2 seconds, so I just let it happen. But that's too much, and I think I'm gonna die again. It's too much. Yeah. Welcome, Electorob. Aw, thank you. Maybe. Maybe. I dare say hopefully, but maybe. This is horrible. I hate it here. It's making me cry. Just kidding. When did my alert go off? Thank you so much, Get Some. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the Stream the Dreams Project. Thank you for being an awesome human being. Thank you oh so mucho. I forgot that keyboard isn't working right now. Thank you, thank you. I was probably either panic shooting or crying. Because I'm just so grateful. You're so grateful. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Well, you're very up and down tonight. You don't really know what you want in life, do you? There's some healthies. Now, I really should have used him for ammo. But here we are. There's gotta be someone else lemon squeezy somewhere, right? Right? Wrong. You're not lemon squeezy. You're not lemon squeezy. Well, yeah, I can't see through your butt, babe. You're lemon squeezy. Hi, BB. It's not the gun that I want for you. This is why I feel like you guys have loved the shotgun so much. I've never used this mod with it. And it is quite impressive. I think these guys are it, and then there's a couple more Star Wars looking dudes. I think. You're not helping. He's unhelpful. He is the unhelpful one. Where are you going? Thank you! Thank you oh so mucho! I think my alerts aren't working tonight. I didn't hear a darn thing. Finally! Jesus Christ. I'm working on that for like the last hour. Wow. Wow. Wowie, wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted. You are wonderful. You are amazing. You are incredible. And I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, that's why you're being so nosy. You're Pavloved. It must have made a sound then. I think I'm just not hearing it. He's wagging his tail like, excuse me, Miss Ma'am. I get treats when that sound is made. Don't you know? Getting close to our next substream. Thank you. You ready for some treats? And then I gotta make sure we're at a checkpoint, and then it's bedtime, kiddo. I do not know where we go from here. Through the door, I suppose. Just gonna tie her shoes on the stairs really quick. Ready? Snackies? Oh, I'm sorry, go up there. I didn't realize you were right behind me. Snack attacker. Snack attack. Snack attack. Snack attack. Ready? Oh, you're already sitting. You're such a good boy, Mr. Gunther. Here, let's do that one. Your face is so short. It's hard to take it out of my hands. Do you up? Or finish chewing first? Oh, Slavka, I forgot you were in here. Slavka has joined the chat. The little cat has joined the chat. Oh yeah. Uppy? Uppy? No? Okay. That's okay. Technically, it's Catter Day. It's your day off. You can do with it what pleases you. You don't have to be a little performative puppy. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Do not kill me now. Do not make me redo that. Oh. Excuse me, I was treating the cats. Did that one want a cookie too? I get it, they're temptations, they're tempting. But pass through the void as never before, so they're going to get worse. This looks like something I don't want to do. I say we give it a few tries till I die and then see where the heck it checkpointed us. Hopefully, I'm praying. Oh, to that, Serena. So the green glowing thing and got sidetracked. Hopefully the last checkpoint was before those guys. Oh, you missed it! That was pathetic. I'm operating with like half my vision, so maybe it wasn't actually that bad. Okay. What do you want me to do with these? This is ridiculous. Is that even the first one? It looks the closest. Maybe we need some height to like get the drop on it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's gonna move. No! No! It's way too far to the side. No, no, no! Alright, I think in like 2 more falls we're dead. Then we'll see where we checkpoint in. I really am trying. Okay. Oh, oh, I punched it instead of landing on it. Good grace. Oh my god, this is horrible. I don't know what this is. If this is an allergy attack or what. It's never been this bad in my life. I don't understand. Am I getting sick? I've never even been like this when getting sick. I don't understand. I think that's the name of that tune. Have an awesome rest of your night, Electra. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. See where we respawn at. Please, after the last guys. Please. I think we have access to fast travel now. Definitely haven't used it though. Okay. We're safe. Mildly. Mild to moderate safety. Oh, you just gotta play Space Frogger when we come back to this. That's what it feels like. Feels like playing Space Frogger. Do 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 do. Good night, PlayStation. Thank you for being so good to us. Thank you. All in all, I think we did pretty good tonight. We made progress. Progress, not perfection. We did good. We did good! Everyone say goodnight to the little shittens. They're so cute. They're gonna be a week old tomorrow. Milestone. It's exciting. Either 1 or 3 is just so independent though, and it freaks me out. They switched off since I could last identify them. To look back at their super baby pictures and see if I can make out which one kind of has stripes. I swear one kind of has stripes. I don't know what that'll end up looking like. Excited to see. Mr. Gunther bath time. Mr. Voya bath time. Little kitten's bath time. All the bath time. Do many people have their guesses in for gender? Nope. I have mine in and Cyogenics in. I think everyone else is waiting to see kind of a little bit of their personality before we can see what their little bits of junk are. I wonder what they're gonna end up being. They're so cute. They're so hungry tonight. It's interesting. Like, they eat as if they were living on the street. Like, it's mostly during early morning hours, like now. Or, like, in the middle of the day, when all predators would be asleep. Like, from now to 3, she'll be nursing. It's interesting. She's so protective of them, understandably. I'm just really holding out that there's gonna be a time where, like, she's just sick of their shit and will let me love them. Number 1 is a boy. Cow is a boy. Black cat number 2 is a girl. So now if we're all correct, then we'll all get to name one. Ooh, which will be an interesting combo of names. Going up on the board. I was about to muse that, like, it's kind of awesome. It takes 3 or 4 weeks. We got time to work on this one. And then I remember that people are pregnant for like 9 months and they get a hell of a lot more time to guess for these things. Or let other people guess for them. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is whatever you want it to be, baby. As a choose your own adventure. And thank you so much for taking the time to be here tonight. Get your name up on our anchor over here. And a very pajama-y welcome to you. Thank you. Hope you're having a lovely weekend. They're good guesses. Because they're the same as mine. Some good thinking. If it were my bambino, would I find out the gender in advance or wait till birth? I would want to know in advance so that I can, like, pre-plan clothes and expectations. Like whether I'm going to get peed up at. I want to know in advance. I'd want to be ready. There you go. Oh, this is kind of like Queen vibes. It's interesting. Would you guys want to know ahead of time or be surprised? I feel like most men don't like surprises. Like, for big things. Like, surprise you with, like, a 6-pack of beer. Yes. Something big? No. You're up on the board. It's official. It's official. I mean, I'm sure there's much more things to plan about than just, like, will you pee up at me? But yeah, I would want to know in advance. You have your expectations ready. Sure, babies are probably mostly the same, again, other than the peeing up for a certain amount of time, but they grow fast. They have like whole personalities by the time they're like 6 or 8 months old. It's crazy. It's bonkers. Oh my god, I learned the other day why we're born so helpless. Like, compared to, like, a horse that, like, its foal is gonna walk within, like, an hour or so of birth. It's because we didn't form well enough to be... We didn't evolve well enough to be bipedal to allow for enough pelvic expansion necessary to spawn a creature. But yet, our bodies have allowed us to still spawn creatures at that size, which I find very interesting. So because horses have been walking the same for centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries, I don't know if that's how long horses have been around or not, their babies will get up and walk right away. Same with goats and like most livestock and otherwise. But I don't know what cats excuse for, because they're really like helpless, but they also mature really fast. It's interesting. I choose baby names when I was a kid. No, I never really got into the whole, like, I want to be a princess. I want to plan my wedding. I want to plan my children and this, all that, whatever. The kids I hung out with across the street were like sportsy and tomboyish too. So we didn't really sit down and have like tea parties and like princessy conversations. I came home dirty every day, like covered in mud. I can remember so many times my dad telling me to sit in the slop sink and rinse myself off. Like before coming into that house to like take a shower. That's how covered in mud I would be. I was a bit of a wild child in that way. God made dirt. Dirt don't hurt. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. There's names that I definitely like, but that's like all family names. If I ever had spawns, I would just name them after my grandparents in some kind of collective order, combining the two. I think that's very honorable, but not unique or very well thought out either, but that's okay. Heaven forbid there are ever tiny Serenas running around. I would name them after my grandparents. I think I settled on that at some point in my 20s, but I never really thought about it when I was a kid. Closest I got to that was having Beanie Babies and large stuffies, and then pretending that like my stuffed animal was gonna give birth to kittens. I'm having a lot of flashbacks by having the baby kittens here. I had multiple stuffed animals that I had make Beanie Baby babies. It was just so magical. I don't know. I got like, what's the word? I got roped into the exposure of baby fever when I was young. And to me, that just meant kittens. But my grandma used to joke with me that her poodle was gonna have puppies. And I was gullible, so I believed it. And then I was always let down that there weren't puppies. And then my godmother always wanted to have kids. And she actually pranked me once. Like, I guess to see my reaction if she ever was gonna have a child. But she came out of the bedroom. She's like, oh my god, I'm pregnant. You're gonna have a god sister. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. And then she was just like, just kidding. I was like, what? So I was like surrounded by baby fever, but I didn't have it except for kittens and puppies because I wanted kittens and puppies. It's just what every kid wants. That's why people get them and are irresponsible with them, because kids are not capable of taking care of animals. Like, it's nothing against them, they're just not. I don't know what hell kind of prank is that. I really don't understand. My godmother and I don't really talk too much anymore, so I can't really ask her about it, but I'm really curious how that actually went versus how I remember it, and what the motivation behind it was. So I remember watching TV and eating cereal, and just like hearing that I would have a sibling that's not a sibling, and then getting excited, and then just like, just kidding. It doesn't mean, oh no, it would have been meaner if it was literally puppies. I would have been upset about that. I would have been very upset about that. Ringo's the kind of dog I always wish would get dropped off on my porch when I was a kid. He's the perfect puppy, even when he's being a silly booger. He's the dog I've been waiting for my whole life. He's really cool. Not playing favorites, but I've been waiting for my whole life. He's my Disney Prince puppy. Oh my god, my eyes are driving me nuts. I don't know what is going on here. It's never been this bad before. Christ and fuck. He is my dog in shining armor. Should I dress him up like a horse knight? A horse in armor? For Halloween? Make him some chainmail? I've been crying all night. My eyes will not stop watering. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's causing it. I don't know why it's happening. It's never been this bad before. I don't know what the heck is going on. But it's going on. I'm just crying because you're all so beautiful. It was embarrassing during Doom though. Felt like I was crashing out without actually crashing out. Alright, Club Cult. And feed the zoo and get some eeps. But thank you all for a wonderful night. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your chats. No, I'm not going to beat anyone up. Thank you for your support. And thank you for your company. More than anything, thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable. Whether it is 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, or I'll see you again for 2 years. When our times collide, it is beautiful, magical, amazing, and incredible. And I'm oh so grateful. I'm a grateful girly. If you guys want to keep up with me offline, hop into the Disky Boo. That keyboard doesn't work, Serena. Anyways, we got the fun stuff. The socials. Some more fun stuff. And the schedule for when I will see you bebs next. Thank you all so much for your support for the Stream the Dreams project. It means the world to me. And the little beans. And if you have not yet today, I'm like, wait, I'm forgetting something. Don't forget to pop in your submission for your fave cosplayer in the Avian Awards. For pre-nominations. Because your girl is currently doing her best at cosplaying as Wake. And I think I'm doing a pretty bang up job. I think I might actually end up doing 30 days of Harley or 31 days ish of Harley for October. It seems better and better of a choice every single day. I don't know. I don't know. Hold on to your hats because we just might do it. I don't know if it's less time consuming or more time consuming, but we'll find out, I guess. Thank you all again for everything. Do me one favor before I see you next, and that is remember that you are wonderful, amazing, incredible, spectacular, oh so kind, and oh so gorgeous. Take all those compliments and put them in your back pocket, your side pocket, your cute little hoodie pocket, your adorable little shirt pocket, or floating in suspended animation, wherever it needs to go. Until I see you next, you sweet bubbos. What is... oh, the phone charger. That's the chair is stuck on. Have a beautiful rest of your night. Get some good sleeps. Get some good eeps. I shall catch you guys for the next one.